Way back when, in the beginning of Humble Road, when I was building van number 1 in my driveway, it got to be about 17 degrees outside. And I realized I needed a roof over my head. The weather was killing me. It was slowing me down on the build. So I started looking for a space. We're gonna find a nice building. All the stuff that's up north by where I live, too expensive. I had to come south. So the very first space I looked at when I came south was a 3,000 square foot space. Beautiful, wide open, 3,000 square foot space. Oh, this was pretty nice. Now things are looking up. I could see myself in here for sure. 2 sticking points I had with this space, besides being in the same depressed industrial park, were it had 22-foot ceilings. It's going to be hard to keep that place heated. And $3,700 per month plus cam. That's a lot of moolah shmoolah. It was beautiful. I loved it. It was 50 by 60, one big room, 22-foot ceilings. Had a wall of windows all the way down. The natural light was beautiful. The only problem was it was 3,000 square feet. I couldn't afford it. That was too much for me at the time. Now, 2 years later, and 4 vans and contracts for more vans, the space came available again. That lease is up. The guy's moving out. I saw it online. I contacted that landlord. I said, I want that space. I want it right now. He said, okay. I have to check your use with the town. We got to make sure that everything you do is copacetic and we're not going to run into any problems. So here I stand waiting, hoping. I'll say a few prayers and hopefully around April or May, I'll be moving into that space while I'm building vans. No problem, Mama. Where's the weight?
Seems to be fairly distributed, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You all right?
Yep.
We didn't tape off the edges, but
we don't need.
Right.
I got plenty of room here if you need it. Looks like we had over an inch on each side.
Yeah.
I gotta go in there.
All right, I got it. Is it hitting the cherry? No.
No. Okay, now we're past. So now this is, oh man, I hit that almost perfectly.
And your headboard's going to be back here somewhere.
Yeah.
Limiting that.
I'm beyond my I-beam now, right?
Yes, you are. You're flush with the I-beam about here.
Okay. That's pretty much where it's got to be.
Yeah.
That's the whole bed. A little slow. I wonder if we can ramp it up with voltage.
Needs more power.
Yeah. So that goes till it stops. It's so close to vertical. It's the closest one I could find. Are we losing the...
What?
There we go. Okay, that's pretty much where she's gonna rest. You got about 3/4 of an inch behind those flats to the, yeah.
Corner here you want?
3/4.
Yeah.
To the black.
There. Yeah, to have something to be able to see out here.
Right,
yeah, that's
right.
about it. It's about as far back as you're going to want to go.
That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 exactly. 13 inches. 12 inches. That's a lot. So this is the latest brainstorm. Obviously, that half wall that was going to fold down twice that we had in the cardboard build, as I said to Mr. and Mrs. Sprinter at that time, I'm not 100% sold on this idea yet. My whole reason for doing that was I did not want to see a folded mattress in the Waldorf, in the plaza. Okay, so that idea has been percolating in my pea brain all this time, and I've gone through a number of different scenarios to make this work. Then I came up with this. This is actually an adjustable bed frame designed for a platform bed. So none of the mechanicals protrude down below the frame. It's ideal for a van. So this is a queen, so we are 75 by 60. And as you can see, the issue is not with the width. We're good with the width. My issue is with the length. During the day, I need this to retract back over the garage area so we have a dinette. And Ron and I just put this in, and we spent a lot of time today trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. And we had a couple of good brainstorms, and then we had a breakthrough. So we have a situation here where I'm going to take this back out on the table, and I'm going to wrench it all apart, and we're going to make this work. We're going to make some adjustments to it so that when it is fully reclined, fully lounge position for the day, as a day lounge, it's sitting over the garage up, perfect. Then at night, you pull it forward, you recline it down. I'll have my step under here so they can get into bed. And then I'll have a little bell next to the bed so you could call for room service. So I got all the physics and logistics taken care of with my 80/20 frame back here in the garage. I had to add a few more support pieces to keep this thing solid. A lot of weight. This inverter right here, this is the SW3012 by Xantrex, 3,000 watt inverter. It's 70 pounds, so it's quite heavy. And it's sitting right over my, my water tank. Here's my water heater over here on this side, and I'll have all of my valves and control zones right in front of that. Over here, I'll have my BMS and my solar controller. I've got breakers and shut-off switches on the back wall. This is going to be a beautiful setup. One of the things that I'm being careful to maintain is on each side here, I've got a clear shot all the way down above the wheel wells, all the way down to the galley box on each side and the refrigerator. And I'm going to try to leave that open so that these Mr. and Mrs. Sprinter are cross-country skiers. I might be able to give them a nice waterproof containment for their skis on each side, right down the line, nice and neat. One of the things I did here with the design is I shortcut this bottom plate. If you notice, this bottom piece does not go all the way to this end on either side. See, I left that gap. And what that is, it's telling a story. If somebody has to work on this system, primarily what I'm talking about is the water tank. If this water tank has to be pulled out for any reason, and you've got a mechanic or somebody looking at this whole setup back here, and they see that gap there, it's going to tell them a story that by just removing a few screws, this will come out. Now you can slide that tank out. That's all that's needed to do to get that tank out. And I just felt that shortcutting, somebody would study this for a minute and they'd understand, hey, look, all we got to do is unscrew. Now, chances are that if there are any problems with this, it's going to be me that's working on it for the life of the van. So I'm not that concerned, but you never know. This is just a little something that I did. Another neat little feature back here is my wall panels on either side are removable. They're held in place with magnets. So in the future, if you ever have to get behind there to run another wire to repair the outlet or the rinse down station outside, you can get at it. Everything over here is magnetized. Now right here, this is still my test piece. I've got two 9-pound pull magnets on the back of this board. I ordered 16-pound pull magnets. I ordered a shit ton of them. because I'm going to use them throughout the van for different things. But if I add a couple more 16-pound pulls, it's fine the way it is. But I just want to make sure that it stays up more than it wants to come out. It should be a little bit of a struggle to get it out. But if you ever have to change the outlet outside or your wash down or run another one, that's part of the build. That's the way I want to do things. It takes a little more time to figure it out and engineer it. Long run, the labor that you're going to save down the road, whether it's you doing it, me doing it, or another mechanic somewhere out on the road, it's going to be a joy. It will not be an issue. Once you get done, look at the lens. Once you get done cutting your hole for the outlet or anything else that you're going to be mounting through the side of the van, you need to put a backer plate on the other side. You need something that you can bite into, that you can screw into. That backer plate gets glued to the inside wall of the chassis, and that's why I've got this all clamped up. I'll take you around and show you, but I just wanted to show you what's going on out here. I save my foam cutoffs from any of my insulation, and I save cutoffs from any of the wood that I've been using and cutting. This happens to be the cutoffs from the slats to Mr. and Mrs. Sprinter's dinette seats. So I just save a bunch of these things over on the work table, and if I have to clamp anything and I don't want any scratching, this is how I do it. That nice soft pink foam just lays right up against there, and you can clamp it in place. Let me show you what that backer plate looks like. This is my backer board or my backer plate. In this case, it's 1/2-inch plywood. I've got another one over here that's 3/4 inch for my outside washdown. Basically, this is a piece of wood that you can now screw into from the other side, and it gives whatever it is you're mounting a good amount of support and strength to go the long distance. So this piece, you cut out the hole for the outlet box, and then this gets glued to the inside of the chassis wall. Obviously, you cut away any rattle trap you may have. This should sit flush on the chassis steel. Clamp it in place, let it set and cure. Now, where you place these things is important. You make the hole so that the outlet box fits through it, right? But this backer plate can be made too big if you're not careful. You can see that I've chosen a flat spot here to mount this thing. You got to let the van talk to you. You got to become one with the van, and all your questions will be answered. You need to find flat spots to mount these things. Don't start to encroach on a bend. You see where I put this? I cut this just right, just before I start to encroach on a bend. If I put it up on the bend and it was too big, it would never lay flat, and then you'd have leaks. So you got to pay attention to this stuff. But as I've said in the past, the van wants to tell you. The van wants to give you all the answers you need. You just have to ask. Sprinter van went through a pretty major design change, which proved to be not that big a deal because of the way it was designed and using the 80/20, the erector set. Originally, we were putting the freshwater tank under the galley like I did in the Vagabond van. But because of this particular situation, that took up too much of the galley, and they didn't have enough drawer and cabinet space for their liking. The other issue was that we could only get about 32 gallons of water under here. And they wanted to get more capacity if they could, fresh capacity. So I flip-flopped. I put the water tank in the garage under the inverter. You saw that a minute ago. And I brought the battery over here. And this is the same footprint as the big 600 amp hour lithium that we put in the first two vans, the Lithionics battery. Now it's a 630 amp hour lithium battery in the same footprint, same form factor, about 30 pounds lighter as well. So we put the battery here, and I'll run my BMS right under this dinette seat, full access. It's great. Worked out very well. Gives them more cabinet space, gives them a really nice big clothing drawer here. I did have to order another piece of 80/20 that would continue from here all the way out. And this is a nice little flat spot now. I'll have outlets here and the bed's coming over here. Originally I had a little triple dresser, a very small, narrow, 12-inch wide triple dresser on either side, symmetrical with our dinette seats. So I actually dismantled the triple dresser on this side, and I was able to use a lot of those components in this redesign. I did have to order one more long piece here. We just bridged this together to get an idea of how this is going to work. And the reason I had to do some engineering on it is, like everything else, I want you to be able to get this battery out easily without any hassle. So there's just going to be a cover face plate here of the matching cherry. This van's getting cherry. So there'll be a nice big cherry clothing drawer here. Cherry faceplate, you pull that off, magnets, battery comes right out. The saga continues. We're inside this is the armoire closet in the pleasure way. And as you know, I've got my water heater. You see that? The water heater, look at the access you have down here, right? There's going to be a removable panel. Alex is going to neaten all this up, this cut, and have a nice removable panel. You have full access to the water heater. Now we've got our reservoir. Look at how nice and tidy everything fits. Can you believe it? Now that reservoir is going to get accessed through the floor of my closet. That's what we're in. We're in the closet now. And the 80/20 brackets that are holding that reservoir are fastened to the little piglet legs of the water heater. So this whole system, this whole support system is one unit, locked down, fully adjustable. And I could take either one of those components out without disturbing the other. And that is the glycol that's going to get popped up front, go through a heat exchanger, and then be brought back into this heat exchanger. So you're making free hot water every time you drive the van. Nice system. Now, how are you going to access that, you say? To check the reservoir? I'll show you. This was Ron's idea, a big idea, I might add. The floor of the closet is right there. And we're going to put an access hatch right in the middle. And that is how we're going to access that reservoir to check the level and fill it if need be. Genius. Brilliant. That doesn't affect anything to do with the closet. Isn't that something? Big ideas. They happen every day. And now we've got our refrigerator fitted. Okay. The flange, it's almost a perfect fit. You could almost just get away with a little bead of something or other. But this is a isotherm. This is the Cruise 130. It's mostly refrigerator space. There's a small freezer here just for a little bit of ice cream. And it looks like it's got a little magnet. Oh, I love those magnets. Yeah, so this is basically for someone that uses a lot of fresh food, not a lot of freezer space. If you wanted a big freezer, you could put it in the back of the van. There is room for it. So here's your fridge. It's stainless steel face. So we're going to put a little vent right here, a vent grill, because of what we call ventilation. And you can see here, I cut out the closet. This is where my compressor to the refrigerator lives. And when the closet is put back together, I will have a properly sized ventilation grill cover here. And there's another one down at the bottom of this cabinet underneath alongside the water heater. I've got that one passing through into the battery compartment. And then we've got ventilation on this side going into our power mechanicals box. And then there's ventilation grills going out the back side of that box. So this entire cabinet, this whole box of furniture breathes now. I'm coming to you from the driver's side of the van, where all the holes are. Remember I said if this was a boat, it would never work. Thank God it's not a boat. Anyway, we're dealing with these holes, these cutouts. As you know, the refrigerator vent panels were filled with die core. 2 of the 3 were filled with die core. We left the 3rd one open, and I'm going to put no-seam screening on the back. And then that baby goes right back in place. And this is the vent that's open. These are sealed. And at the top, it'll be the opposite. 2 sealed, 1 open. This compartment, now insulated, is also ventilated. And it houses my battery, houses my refrigerator, my compressor refrigerator. The compressor's right up here on the outside. So this is going to work very well. This hole used to be the propane-fired water heater. Okay, I ripped that sucker right out of there. No good, no propane. So I found a company that makes the RV door panels. They just happen to have they had a stock size with a lock that fits this cutout perfectly, 13 by 13 with a radius corner. Obviously you can see where the side of the van, yeah, you can see that right there. The van's tapered, it's got a funky shape to it. It's not like a flat Class A. Even though I like to build the Class A's of Class B's, it's not completely true. When Pleasureway had that panel in here, when it was a propane-fired water heater, they filled this in with caulk. Big gap. This is almost an inch and a quarter gap. Filled it with caulk. Did a nice job. Visually, it was very nice, and it never leaked in 10 years. So we're working on a way to seal this up, make it visually, aesthetically pleasing. Ron is developing a system where he's using some urethane foam. And once he sculpts that to fit, tapered to 0, then he's going to wrap it with some kind of thermoplastic. Then that sets in as a nice custom-made insert, and we caulk it in place. And then what you'll have is a nice little lockable access hatch on the outside of a van. And obviously, this is a great thing to have right here because my S-bar heater is right there. My reservoir for my water heating closed-loop glycol system right here. So, and there's room for storage. You know, you could put maybe your leveling blocks or something RV park related right in here. So this is kind of cool. It's going to be a nice fix. Good job.